called the Prince of Pot. Marc Emery spent 5 years at a U.S. jail. He had been convicted of selling marijuana seeds by mail. Emery, a Canadian, now wants to campaign for the Trudeau Liberals in the run-up to the 2015 election. But some say that could do more harm than good for the Liberals anyway. Cochrane joins us now. He's a political science professor at the University of Toronto. Chris, what's the risk here of having someone like Emery unofficially campaign for the Liberals?
Well, Justin Trudeau doesn't have much of a problem at all resonating with young people. He's made it very clear that he supports legalization of marijuana, so he doesn't really need any help on that file. The challenge for the Liberals with Trudeau as a leader is trying to present him as somebody who's serious, mature, responsible, and able to govern. He's clearly likable. The question is he somebody that people will think at the end of the day they would want as a prime minister? And really, somebody campaigning on legalization of marijuana isn't the issue that's going to set a candidate apart in that respect.
So it could be shining a spotlight on an issue that doesn't need any more of the spotlight.
Exactly. I mean, if you remember those old PC and Mac commercials where you had the sort of stiff PC representative and the cool, hip Mac representative, that is not the message that the Liberals want to run the next campaign on. It's fine now. We're far away from an election. People really don't have to consider that seriously. Who do I want as Prime Minister when they answer the question, who do you want as Prime Minister? But as the election approaches, we know the Conservative strategy is going to be to try to present Justin Trudeau as sort of a irresponsible, not up to the task as their first campaign messages suggested. And that's what the Liberals have to combat. They want to present Trudeau as a serious, mature, responsible candidate. People already like him. Now they have to see him as prime ministerial material.
All right, let's talk about something else. Thomas Mulcair, leader of the opposition, wanted to tour the flooded areas in Manitoba. It was all apparently ready to go when I guess the Conservative government stepped in and said, yeah, no, you're not going to do that. Who does this look bad on specifically, and why would they give him the red light instead of the green?
Well, that's a very good question on the red light and the green. I mean, who it looks bad on, I think it looks bad on everybody, certainly politics in general. The last thing people want to see in a natural disaster situation is politicians fighting amongst each other about who is and who isn't going to get tours of the disaster relief effort. I think ultimately what this comes down to is what is the purpose of giving politicians a tour of a relief effort? And certainly you can see why a minister or a prime minister would be given a tour. You can even make a case perhaps about why a leader of an opposition might be or might accompany a minister in one of these tours to see what's going on. It's the job of the opposition obviously to hold the government to account. The more information they can get about what the government is doing or isn't doing, the more effectively they can hold the government to account. But it's not clear to me why Thomas Mulcair would have his own tour separate from the government. I mean, he isn't an officer of the executive of the government. He's not in charge of the bureaucracy. But I mean, at the end of the day, frankly, this just looks bad on everybody.
All right, we've got to leave it there. We're out of time. Cochrane, political science professor from the University of Toronto. Chris, thanks.
My pleasure.